Consider supporting DanDanTheFireman on Patreon for just $1 a month. More information and link below.
What is up, everybody? Dan the Fireman here. Thank you for joining this Saturday series. We are going to be doing camping, but I want to get all this stuff out of the way, and I'm going to talk to you about how to pack your bags for motorcycle camping. That could be your backpack, that could be your saddlebags, it could be your tank bag. Any bag that you have, how are you going to pack it? And you need to do it right, or it could get kind of like a hassle, especially when it comes to camping and riding longer distances with a bunch of stuff that's not packed the right way. But if you like this kind of stuff and you want to see more of it, I do beginner tips and all that things and stuff. So I'm trying to focus on this truck in front of me. And if you like that, please click subscribe. It really does help out the channel. And I really want to hit 100,000 subscribers because that would be so cool. Anyways, let's get back to this. Let's go ahead and talk about it. And the first tip that you really need to start thinking about is weight distribution, like total weight. I'm talking like, I mean, when you backpack, every ounce is important. So when you ride with a lot of stuff, every ounce is important, especially if you're going to be riding to a spot and then you're going to have to camp, and then you're going to have to hike to where you want to camp. But definitely when it comes to positioning it on the bike, you want to keep your bike at a lower center of gravity, and you don't want to put a ton of heavy stuff. I'm talking like heavy stuff. Now, if you guys are just going to throw on a backpack, that's perfectly fine. Throw on a backpack. Or if you're going to carry a backpack but then carry things in the saddlebag so you don't have to carry it on your back for the long distance, then it's not going to be too much of a problem. But I know a lot of you guys have these big bikes, big powerful bikes, and you want to put a bunch of stuff in there because you have a lot of room. So just remember to put the heavy items in first. Heavy items in first, so that way they're on the bottom, the saddlebags. Plus, you don't crush anything. Think of like putting stuff in your grocery bags. You don't put the eggs down first, and then you put like a ton of meat on top, so it's going to crush the eggs, right? Or same thing with bread on the bottom. You don't put a bunch of stuff on top of that. It's the same concept with that. And plus, your center of gravity will be a little bit lower, because if you pile it on the top, I mean, it's going to change the way you turn and the dynamics of your turning. So also be aware that it's still going to change the dynamics of your turning a little bit if you have stuff in your saddlebags, especially if you put them in the wrong spots. And that's by like you put too much of the heavy stuff on one side versus the other side. And we'll talk about that. So also don't put it on the exhaust and in front or on the air intake. That's actually pretty bad. So if you're packing like and you have like a tank bag that like straddles, like it's almost a saddlebag, you really don't want to cover up your air intake, because really that's what's keeping your bike cool, right? We're not keeping your bike cool, but it's what's giving your bike the air it needs. So if you're restricting that, you're going to be restricting your fuel consumption, the power, and all that stuff, and it's not good. Same thing with the exhaust. You really don't want to be putting your saddlebags or like stuff hanging over. Like if you have a tent that you're going to strap on the outside, you don't want it touching your exhaust. First of all, you're going to melt your tent, which can be pretty expensive. And secondly, your exhaust is going to have some nasty plastic and vinyl or whatever on it, and you're going to have to scrape it off, and it's just going to be a pain in the ass. It's going to ruin your trip. So be careful where you put your stuff. The exhaust is very important. Same thing with the air intake. So if you're going to use saddlebags, which are great, I just got saddlebags. I got the Burley brand Voyager saddlebags. I'm testing them out. I'm going to be testing them out on my camping trips and during this video series, and during my Wednesday gear review series, I'll be doing that. But make sure they're actually secure. When you put stuff in the saddlebags, if you have two of them, if you have one on the left and one on the right, make sure you equalize the weight. So let's say you have two water bottles, right? Let's put one water bottle on the left and one water bottle on the right. Same thing with straps. So if you're going to strap things down, you want to make sure you have like the equal amount of tie downs. You don't want to tie something down so much on the right side to where it's actually pulling tension to that side, because the bikes vibrate, you hit bumps, and if it's pulling tension to one side, every time you hit a bump, it's going to pull a little more, pull a little more, pull a little more, and then to the point where you're going to hit one bump and it's either going to fly off or it's going to come loose. So you really want to tie down your stuff equally on both sides. So if you're going to do a bungee cord from one side to the other, do one side or the other. If you're gonna do a bungee cord like up and around and back on that side, make sure you do a bungee cord on the other side, up and around, back on that side. Does that make sense? So you really got to focus on that and make sure your weight is distributed on the motorcycle effectively. Now let's go ahead and talk about keeping your dirty and clean clothes separate. Now this is kind of big because right now I am sweating. And I'm going to, let's go ahead and make sure that doesn't go off. I'm sweating. I'm gonna ride to my campsite. I'm going to change into my campsite clothes. So it's going to be a different set of clothes, probably going to be shorts, sandals, and a t-shirt, depending on where I'm going. I want to keep these sweaty motorcycle clothes separate. Now, let's say I camp for a little bit longer and I'm going hiking, and those clothes get sweaty and nasty, and I got a pair of clean clothes. On the way back, I'm gonna put my dirty clothes in one saddlebag, and I'm gonna put my clean clothes in the other saddlebag. Or I'm just gonna keep them separate while I'm at the campsite, because one, you're not gonna wanna have a rash. You're not gonna wanna accidentally grab a pair of dirty underwear and then have to ride back and you get nasty rashes. You don't wanna have dirt and grime in your clean clothes, and that way you can actually put your dirty clothes in a plastic bag. So put your dirty clothes in a plastic bag, because if you get like a bug or something, or if you get like something in there that's just gonna be an irritant, you can definitely keep it separate, and it'll make things a lot easier when it comes to washing them, because then you're able to just grab the bag. There's Tucson police. You can just grab the bag and use the bag as, oh well, these are the dirty ones, boom, throw it in the washer. Also, the next thing is only bring what you really need, because like I said, every ounce is important when it comes to backpacking, and every ounce is important when it comes to riding on your bike. Make sure you can use something that has a dual use. Now, one thing that I truly like having as a dual use are wool socks. Wool socks are amazing. Let's say it gets cold at night. You obviously have another pair, let's say you have 2 pairs of wool socks. You have 1 pair of wool socks on your feet, and then you can put 1 pair of wool socks on your hands. The dual purpose on that is that it can be a pair of gloves. It could be a pair of, warming gloves. Another thing is that if you don't want to carry a backpack, you can have a tank bag, and sometimes those tank bags have straps, shoulder straps, to where they convert into a backpack. So if you are kind of worried about, like, you get to the campsite, how am I going to carry everything? Well, having a nice tank bag that converts into a backpack is nice. These saddlebags, they have shoulder straps, and then they have handles on them, and it's great. It's a dual purpose. Some hard saddlebags don't have that. So make sure you only bring what you need, and only bring stuff that, or try to bring stuff that has a dual purpose. If you guys have any other ideas for dual purpose items for camping, please write in the comments. That way I can start practicing those myself, because right now all I can think of is wool socks and different types of clothing. When it comes to the clothing, you actually do have to research the weather before you go. So right now it's super hot, and I'm thinking, man, it's gonna be hot when I go camping up on Mount Lemmon. It's 30 degrees cooler up there. So let's say it's 90 degrees right now. It's actually like 105, but let's say it's 90, and I go up there, same time, same part of the day, everything. Let's say I instantly transport up there. It's 30 degrees cooler. So it's 60 degrees now, and I'm wearing summer clothes. And I'm like, man, I don't need to pack, winter clothes or cold gear. And then all of a sudden I camp overnight, and it goes into the 30s and 40s. See what I mean? Or if you go from someplace that's super cold, and you don't bring anything where you can feel comfortable in the heat. So you really need to check the weather and check and research all that stuff before you go. The closer to the date, the better. I keep checking almost every day, every 6 hours, and see what the temperature is, so I know what to pack. So winter clothes, during the summertime, sometimes you have to bring them. Sometimes you have to do that. The great thing about wool is that it keeps you nice and keeps you warm when it's wet, and it can keep you cool, and it wicks sweat away from you. So wool is just amazing. Merino wool, that's what I have. I have socks that are and some clothes that are made out of that, and it's amazing. It's amazing. Now, what are you actually going to pack? This is going to be another subject where I'm going to show you all the stuff that I have and that I will be packing, but basically what it comes down to is backpacking gear. So you need to pack some backpacking gear. There's the 3 things basically at a campsite. You got the kitchen, you got the sleeping quarters, and then you got a place to take a shit. You know what I mean? But you don't need to really pack that. You pack a little hand trowel. But anyways, you got to figure out what you're gonna pack. The kitchen, little kitchen utensils. You got to pack. There's the thing with the multi-purpose, the dual purpose. Sometimes they have a fork that's a spork that has a knife in it, so you're not carrying a bunch of utensils, and then they come in plastic or stuff like that. That way they're not heavy like metal. You need to have like an appropriate size tent. And I'll be talking about all these things in future videos, but I mean, the appropriate size tent is really important, because you don't want to get like a very tiny 1-person tent, because I found out that having a 3-person tent with me has been amazing. So it gives me the room. It's not that much bigger. I can keep all my stuff inside, the tent, but there are some really cool tents out there. There's backpacking tents, expedition tents, there's family tents, there's those Walmart tents. I mean, there's a bunch of stuff you can do, and you really need to double check and make sure you got the right stuff. And that's another video for another time, because that's all on just a tent video, and I'd love to do that. But if you do like this, please click that subscribe button. Like I said, it really does help, and it's gonna be a lot of fun doing these these camping series. And I would love to have some camping meetups with you guys. So let me know if you guys want to see some of that. That'd be kind of fun. And with that said, though, that is basically what I got there, how to pack. If you have any questions, please write it in the comments. If you have any tips for how to pack, please write it in the comments. I'm always willing to learn. I always want to get better, and I mean, I obviously want to camp and be more efficient. So let me know, and then I'll get back to you. And then join the Discord. It definitely does help the community when we have people actually communicating with each other. But I'm gonna go ahead and go, and like I said, with that said, I'm gonna see you guys later, and hope you guys ride safe, be safe, and have a great weekend. All right, I'll see you guys later. Bye.